Hey guys, it's Andrea. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I am Andrea. I talk about living with chronic illnesses and the disabilities, as well as the NDIS and Australian Care Program. And guys, this one's going to be a little bit more personal, let you guys in behind the curtains type of thing. And it will relate to my previous video. Guys, this is a really interesting one because I recently went to the doctor and I literally said to her, look, I need to get my life together this year. And she looked at me blankly and said, but you've already got your life together. And she said to me, you don't have to keep up. I just want to unpack that with you guys. Because I live with Sjogren's syndrome. For those of you who are not familiar with that, it is first and foremost an autoimmune disease that attacks my glands. So it attacks the glands that secrete things, so I don't make as much moisture in my mouth, eyes, nose, and other areas that should. It also makes me dysregulate heat, and other body functions are a bit dysregulated as well. Then we have, it is also a form of arthritis, so it does attack my joints and has all of the other things that come along with arthritis, pain and fatigue as well. And then we see that as top of that, I live with epilepsy, and I'm sure people will be aware enough to know that epilepsy is a neurobiological disorder that affects the brain. In my case, it is full grand mal seizures, and I've been on medication that long that it is actually starting to destroy my liver. That is something that I have to be very aware of this year as well as my disabilities being ADHD and brain damage. And you can see where the ADHD part of me wants to keep up, wants to keep doing, but my body physically can't keep up. And this is what I wanted to talk about. That, like most disabled YouTube creators, Jessica Kelgard-Frozard, Molly Burke, Footless Joe, and I know there'll be others out there that I haven't mentioned, they all have the thing that we only make content on our good days. And on my bad days, I write, I Netflix, I quilt. And I am trying to have a bit of, like everyone else who's an internet creator, work-life balance a lot more. And so I'm trying to get ahead of myself by having some pre-recorded videos like I'm used to. Don't know how that'll go though, guys. It's a really interesting one to get into, that we don't have to keep up, that we need to be able to give ourselves the time to rest. And if you have access to a support worker, don't feel guilty in using them as well. This relates to the previous video in manipulation. For so long, people with a disability had to be manipulated to get what we needed, to get what we want. And for so long, the system said to us, you get what you get and you don't get upset. And it still is like that now as well. But now we're realizing that people with a disability are a very, very diverse group of people, because disability does not discriminate. Let me say that again. Disability does not discriminate. And we need to be aware of that it can happen to anyone through no fault of their own in the blink of an eye. This is a really interesting one to go down to, because manipulation is different to victim blaming. Manipulation is that deliberate gaslighting of a person with a disability, and they might not be conscious that they're even doing it, but it's the whole if you loved me, you would do this. If you were a good friend, you'd do this. I can't get to the party because I have no transport. But they might be talking about having a taxi allowance or having a transport allowance. So they do have other ways of getting to the party or the event. They're just so used to someone picking them up or dropping them off or organising their life for them. They don't want to be the adults in this situation and take account. And so you can see where things get tricky there, because there are some people with a disability who don't have the emotional capacity or the intellectual capacity to understand that what they're doing is wrong. And this is a really tricky one, and I applaud support workers who work with these type of people to hold them accountable to the best of their ability. And it's got to be hard for those people to not understand that they're doing the wrong thing. However, this is something that I'm seeing as an ongoing issue, and I'm doing this video in a response to the Quora post I saw about someone posting that they were autistic and people did not respect them, essentially, was the question. It was posted to a space that I run. Full disclosure, I do earn a bit of an income from it. But it was interesting in this space that it was just assumed that these people would automatically respect him. Respect is earned, not given. And that doesn't matter whether you've got a physical disability, a psychosocial disability, or a mental illness or not. People can give you all the consideration in the world, but people don't have to give you all the patience in the world. And that's just my personal thoughts on the things. And there is help available if you want to get better, stop being manipulative as well. And I realised that I, for a lot of years, was manipulative due to the fact that if I asked for my needs, it was pushed down. I had some very poorly trained support workers and very poorly trained providers, and that was the result of it. And I'm starting a new adventure with a new care team, so we'll see how that goes. But manipulation is different from thoughtlessness, carelessness that comes along with ADHD. Manipulation is that deliberate, if you loved me, you would do. Or if you're a good friend because you do. Or using your friend as the unpaid support worker just a bit too often. And then when they take a step back, getting annoyed that they've taken a step back to look after themselves. That's where your support workers come in. Friends and families are happy to fill in the gaps, but the support workers exist for a reason. And I've got a whole playlist on support workers as well. Guys, this one is a bit more behind the scenes, behind the curtains, what's going on in my life, and I'm hoping this year to post longer form videos twice a week and to have a much better work-life balance as well, because I've put 2 years into the videos now, and so I don't get burnt out, I need to concentrate on producing better content as well. But I just want to finish up by saying that if you're a person with a disability, just realise that disability doesn't discriminate. And yes, it can be annoying, yes, it can be hard, yes, it is tough, but it's okay not to keep up. And it's okay to ask for help. And it's okay to recognise that parts of you might be manipulative, parts of you might be toxic. I've deliberately stayed away from using the word toxic for the reasons that as soon as you start to say toxic, whatever on the internet, people will come for you. People with a disability aren't toxic. We can have negative traits, but that's a part of being human. And we need to be aware of that as well. You need to be aware that, as I said, people with disabilities who are content creators only post when they're feeling good. What you're seeing is essentially our highlights reel. You're not seeing the days when we've struggled to get out of pyjamas, to make breakfast, to even get out of bed. To be aware of that is to be a great ally. And sometimes being an ally is making sure that person has basic self-care. And I know that I, for a long time, have really sucked at this. But guys, if you can, please like, share and subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next video.